Yes, sir.
I have a context where my learners deal with 3 languages at the same time.
Yes.
I teach a grade 7 class, I teach Afrikaans. Today I introduced the topic and I spoke to them in English. My idea was to get to the Afrikaans. They started engaging each other, but they knew it's an Afrikaans class. I spoke English to them. I said, what is your greatest dream? Just talk about in your group. And I introduced the subject. And when I said start, 75% were looking at me, puzzled. So I'm at the back of the class, and I say, if you didn't understand what I'm saying, come to the front. I'm still not speaking Afrikaans. So they walked. When I looked around, it was almost the whole class. My point is this. Yes, I'm all for this approach, but I'm just thinking our children are struggling to express themselves in a language that they got to string through 2 other languages. My home language is Xhosa. I'm learning in the school in English, and now the teacher's asking me to think in Afrikaans as well. You get my point? So I'm very worried about, this whole thing.
Okay.
I must say I've abandoned speaking Afrikaans from the beginning of the class to the end. I'm losing my children.
That's doing an Afrikaans lesson.
Yep.
Okay, any other question? And we'll take a couple at the same time. Or should we just deal with that one first? Should we deal with them one at a time? All right, so your school's medium is?
English.
Is English. And you're teaching them Afrikaans as a second language?
I would say third.
A third language. Well, there, straight away, what question comes into people's minds? Why are those kids learning that language as a second language? What is their most, for the majority, what is the majority home language? Xhosa. How would you feel as a Xhosa speaking student being made to, I'm using that word advisedly, to learn Afrikaans as a second language? What should their second language be? What should be the language's subject? If we're looking at, all I'm trying to do here is to talk to you about a model, a multi-bilingual model, for you to think about whether it could have application. The essence of that multi-bilingual model would be that those kids are able to use the language of the medium of the school, the common language, which is English, and their own language, which is isiXhosa. It's not Afrikaans. Now, what you're asking me is, how can you teach those kids a third language? Well, I can tell you from the beginning the way we do it for a third language, and I have said to you, I think it's a nonsense that the third language should be at an academic level. I think it should be at a conversational level. But put that aside. What we do for Afrikaans teachers is suggest to them right from the beginning, when they start teaching Afrikaans to these kids with English as the medium, and their own language as a second language, that when they're teaching them reading, they use the 3 readers. So the child has the book in English, they have the book in isiXhosa, and they have the book in Afrikaans. Now, if they have learned to read in English first, and they've learned to read in isiXhosa in parallel, so those are the 2 that we would push. The Afrikaans reading actually comes so easy because they can read already. And then you bring in Afrikaans, and at last they can actually even read Afrikaans. But I think it's no good us homing in on what is a huge systemic problem there. In terms of our model, those kids should not be learning Afrikaans as an academic second language, and it's grade 7. But I think the important point, and I'm so pleased you raised it, and that's an Afrikaans teacher's particular problem now, with kids who in many cases are so demotivated, they don't want to learn Afrikaans either. because of the whole system. It's like colonizing of the mind twice, in English and Afrikaans. Okay, so we've got to start understanding the thinking here. So it's difficult. I sympathize with you. You can't say kick out the subject, which is what you've been employed to teach. So I can only stand here and talk at a systems level about where policy should be going. And what, in a school like that, I would, as principal, say, come on guys, me and my senior management team, I want to talk to district about re-looking at my language policy. Okay, so I'm not being very helpful to you, because I actually don't seriously believe, and I talk honestly, I seriously believe that the whole business of teaching Afrikaans as a subject, it is mad. Up in Gauteng, you've got these kids coming in from Limpopo, and they're put into what is supposedly still a Zulu school, so you still got all that horrible apartheid spatial stuff that hasn't been addressed in some of our townships. So the child comes in, his home language is Tshivenda, he's put in a Zulu school, he's got to use his Zulu as his medium until grade 3, and then doops into grade 4. Now it's English medium, and it's Afrikaans as the second language. Now this is bizarre. It's bizarre. And when those kids, my study school that I did, I've got a book there if anybody's interested. It was produced with Zubaydah Desai, who's one of your University of Western Cape professors. That study was based on teaching maths to grade 3 in a school in which the average number of kids in the class was actually about 15, but the class I took was only about 7, 8. Okay, but the point is, those kids at grade 3, they were getting an average in the district test of 14%. Okay, 14% for maths at the end of grade 3. Guys, what are we doing to our children? How can you get 14% for maths in grade 3? Where are you going? You will never get maths in matric at that rate. I mean, in grade 3, those kids should all be in the 70s, 80s, 90s. So we're killing our kids. Those kids sitting there with a teacher teaching through English. English is her second language. Those kids with their eyes glazed, not a single one of them in those classrooms actually had English as a home language. And then the worst was the poor Afrikaans teacher. Grade 5, I remember her, she was always in tears. But grade 5, she taught grade 7. And she was trying to get them ready so they could pass Afrikaans for high school. And I thought, why Afrikaans? Why not their home languages? And yes, we've got to start in grade 1. It's impossible for you to pick up this problem in grade 7. It's impossible. So listen, all I can say is my biggest sympathies, but if I were your principal, maybe you are the principal, I think you need to head with your department about it. Okay, other questions? And this, I'm going to go right to the back, to the middle, right to the back.
Okay, we are a primary school in Wynberg, and we've got a similar problem to that problem. We thought about it over the years, but the problem was we're preparing them for high school.
I know.
And we looked at the fact that do high schools around us offer isiXhosa as a second language? And the answer was no. So are we disadvantaging them to offer them their home language as a second language if there are no high schools in the area
exactly.
that will offer them that as a second language?
So giving my view, I think that the teachers have got to go on doing their damn best. Okay, but the principals have got to engage government on a nonsense policy, okay? And we've got to engage government and politicians. So there are two strategies. The teachers are caught in a cleft stick. You can't do anything. So it's a policy issue, okay? So that's all I can say is best of luck. And do yourselves a favor as Afrikaans teachers. Get Afrikaans, get foundation phase Afrikaans readers and give those to the kids with your English readers and get them into doing parallel language work. It actually is cool. It's cool. They love it, especially if it's kids that look like themselves and they're not, whatever. Other questions? Yes, in the middle.
Yes. I wanted it's not really a question, but maybe to comment on the model you just presented.
Yes.
In an ideal world, yes, the model would work perfectly. But we are sitting with, besides the children who cannot speak that language, we even have teachers. If we were to start introducing their mother tongue as maybe their common language, then it means we also need to have a shift in the staff as well. Because you find maybe, like for example, our school is in town. 90% of our children are not from Cape Town. They're coming from Khayelitsha, Gugulethu. And yet, the demographics in our staff, it's not 90% who can speak isiXhosa. Which means if we want to change to that language as their common language, it means now we have to start looking for other teachers as well, which is a whole system.
I'm going to stop you right there. We just don't even think of isiXhosa as common language, because the Western Cape is actually part of the rest of the country, right? I mean, I know you guys think that you're kind of different and that the door stops at Table Mountain. But believe me, you're a very little small part of the rest of the country. The rest of the country, we have very few isiXhosa children in Gauteng. In most of our classes, I would say maybe we've got two. Maybe we've got 15 isiZulu kids. And maybe we've got 5 Sepedi, 6 Setswana, 10 Xitsonga. So it goes back to what should the common language be? It's got to be a language that's going to be useful to those kids wherever they move in the country, quite apart from internationally. So never would I think of isiXhosa as the common language. So you're not looking at a staff of isiXhosa teachers, no. You're looking at your teachers as they are. They're teaching through the common language, and the teacher uses the common language, not the kids' 22 languages. All right? So that's your big thing. So it's not as hard. Guys, do you know what? It's a lot easier than you think. And when I took on this terrible little grade 3 class that couldn't get more than 14% for maths, people said, you're wasting your time, and it's too late at grade 3. Well, you know, half of those kids couldn't read their own names. If you gave them their own name in writing that was not on their suitcase or on their book, okay, they couldn't read their own name. Their reading was so bad. And we did in that study school about 20 intervention lessons across the whole year. And it was a pathetic year. It was the 2007 year of the teachers' strike. Those kids, oh, wow, I thought it was a washout of a study. But we took the maths mark up from 14% to 39.9%. Didn't quite make the 40. But the important thing was not just that we'd done this with the maths, but they had learnt to read. They had learnt to read through using their by-text maths books in this bilingual model. So, you know, what can I say? It's actually, and it was extraordinary. And the teachers that we were using were old teachers who said, "You can't tell us how to teach. We've been teaching for 50 years." Almost. I mean, I'm the one that says that now. No, but seriously, they were lovely, but they were so antagonistic. They said, this is idealistic, it can't work. But they had to try. They had to try a technique, and they did it, and it's a lot easier than you imagine. Somebody else, yeah, in the green shirt, sir.
Thank you very much. It's not the first time. It's quite
I need you to shout because I'm old and deaf.
It's just the first time to listen to your presentations, and I'm very happy to come to your presentations because you gain quite a lot when it comes to it.
Thank you.
My main one is that during the time of the panel and systematic assessment, the department will come and want to know why have we become an underperforming school, and at the same time forgetting that we are comparing apples with bananas. I'm talking about in terms of resources and reading for beginners and reading without understanding. Now the model we are going with is that the other complaint as principals we have is that the parental involvement in the school curriculum and activities is zero, especially the Africans, because they are illiterate. Now, if the model you speak of was in their mother tongue, the parents at home, we give them homework, we've got homework policies which we have to follow. But they don't work because parents would say, I'm tired, and I referred my grandchild to my other child because I'm illiterate. Now, the kind of support we expected to get from parents, we don't get because of the system, Lord. And I'm just wondering, even now, WCED issues out circulars. You will find them in Afrikaans and English. You ask for a Xhosa, and then you get,
I know.
It's a really problem. I'm so worried if there could be a way where the department, national department, not only SLK, could really be aware of this kind of work.
Yeah, guys, I can't help you with your problems with the department other than to say that they need to be engaged at a political and a principal level. But I can say that this business of parents, it's magic. In some cases where we thought all the parents were illiterate, they were illiterate. Some of them were not illiterate. They were illiterate in English, but not in their own language. Don't forget that under the previous government, we had education in the mother tongue. And you will find that some of the gogos and some of the older generation can read in their mother tongue very well, whereas the parents actually can't read in the mother tongue. So you'll find all sorts of interesting things. Very often it's like, get your gogo to help you with that reading. But the most important thing is that you are not asking parents to help them in English. You're asking them to help them with the home language thinking. You want them to be able to help them with their maths using mother tongue, using the home language. You're wanting them to help them with the home language part of the reader. Okay? Leave the English reading for the teacher at school. And for many of those parents, if you just think of yourself as a parent and you're not confident in your ability to read in English, the last thing that you want to do is to expose yourself in front of your kids who are all excited about school and they bring their book home and say, Mum, help me with my English reading. And that parent thinks, oh dear, my English reading is not so great. And so that parent just doesn't want to be available. Am I right? We found that in many cases. We get much, much more cooperation from parents using the home language. We want them to help the kids. We say, talk to your kids about what they've done at school today in science, what they've been doing, but talk in the home language. Be proud of your language, guys. The system has done awful things to people's self-pride, their pride in their own languages. What we're trying to say is be proud of your language. Use it at home with your kids. Talk to your kids. Get them to talk in their home language about what they've been doing, what they've been learning, what they've been thinking. Help them with that maths problem. Help them to think it through in their own language. Because listen, the key thing with that buddy system is we are using the power of articulation to make people think. It's this link between articulating, link between words, link between being able to express your thinking and your thinking. You've got to say to yourself, do I think to talk or do I talk to think? Okay? Do you think to talk or do you talk to think? you can use talk to help yourself think. And you use, thinking to help yourself talk. It's a spiral. It's not just chicken and egg, it's a spiral, but they are so closely linked. And the most important ingredient of getting somebody to learn something is to get them to express it in their own words. So what you're doing with buddy talk is you're getting those kids to think by simply expressing their thoughts. Somebody can say, what do you think about this? And you've got a blank mind. But if you have to talk, you have to put the clutch in and then put the gears on. Okay? So it's a part of your teaching methodology. All right, so I think I've gone far away from whatever you asked me. I'm sorry. Right in the corner. Oh, it's 10 to 5.
Why it is that English home language speakers also have this problem with reading the meaning.
Yes.
Home language, why are they still struggling with this whole idea of reading and understanding what the word?
That is a methodology thing. All right?
Into that as well, and can you briefly just pinpoint what?
Absolutely. One of the main things is that teachers do not get kids to talk about the meaning of something. It's that talk about. The talk, learn a talk, is the most important resource you have in your classroom. And we can use Learn a Talk in all languages. But I'm afraid I'm being shouted at down here. If anybody's got more questions for me, please afterwards.
I'd say I'm outraged if high schools don't introduce a language for each person. Your own language should be offered. I have a firm belief in that, and I think please pester those high schools that don't. But what I wanted to say is that a few years ago we identified a problem that because the learners were taking English home language and not getting bachelor's passes, in fact, maybe not even passing it. And so we introduced Xhosa as a home language in addition to the itself.
Great, it should be.
And we discovered, to our great amazement, they now not only achieve a good result in their home
Fantastic.
language, but
The English has got better. Exactly what I'm saying. That is how you improve English proficiency, and then the whole business of relating the two languages. It works. Thank you. Somebody in my audience says it works. Okay, I'm sorry, Samantha, over to you. And if anybody would like to carry on talking to me outside the door, you are welcome. This is a whole world that needs to be really, really rethought. And there's so much that you guys as teachers can do about it. So good luck, everybody.